What's going on? Dylan Graives with WrestleRecap, bringing you the NXT Spring Breakin Night 2 recap. But before we start, if you want to support WrestleRecap, you can like, share, and subscribe. And as always, you can comment down below and tell me how bad I'm doing at this because, man, I got to listen to this when I edit it, and it is hard to listen to, but I also hate my voice, so hopefully you don't. But with that being said, let's get into it. First thing we saw was a quick flashback to Spring Breakin Night 1, and then we officially kick off the show with NXT champion Trick Williams. Trick comes out to the usual thunderous applause and annoying added noises from a certain commentator who I'm really not gonna miss talking about it. I've been kicking this dead horse for however long, about a month and a half now that I've been doing these, and it's just not pleasant to listen to. Probably about as pleasant as listening to me, if I'm being honest. But Trick comes out and he praises Ilya before commenting that it's a new era. That's a shot. He then also calls it the Whoop That era before Lash Legend interrupts. Lash calls Trick the hottest star in NXT, and Trick says that we ain't going to pretend like the last time she was out there that she didn't try to slap him in the face. But now, since he's got a little gold around his waist, she wants a little taste. It was pretty slick. I'm sure that that he practiced it and that wasn't just like a come up with it on the fly kind of thing, but I don't care. It was still clever. Also, to my knowledge, they are a couple in real life, so it makes these scenes between them all the more like they're just getting paid to go flirt with each other. Not hating, I'm just observing, acknowledging. Lash Legend has an envelope in her hand, and she tells Trick that the truth is inside the envelope. She tells Trick to enjoy his run now, because soon it's going to come crashing down and things are going to get really hot. Following this scene, we catch up with Gigi Dolan and Ariana Grace. Oh, my bad. We catch up with Georgina and Ariana Grace. And they're out to eat because Gigi needs to learn proper etiquette. Basically, they just tell us about the matches that are up for tonight. Following that, it's almost time to get into the first match of the night. And the first match is Ivar challenging Obafemi for the NXT North American Championship. But first, a commercial break. When we come back from the break, we get into the match. Ivar does a dive on top of Oba outside the ring, and it looks like he lands right on top of Oba's head. Hopefully he didn't, because I imagine that hurt. We end up back in the ring, though, and Ivar hits Oba with a power slam, but Oba powers his way out at one. Ivar takes control once again and heads to ringside, where he sends Oba through the barricade as we head into picture-in-a-picture. When we come back from the picture-in-a-picture, Ivar jumps from the top rope to ringside to take out Oba once again. We then head back into the ring, where Obafemi gets a 2 count off of a stiff-looking elbow. Then Ivar gets a 2 count off of a spinning leg lariat. Then Oba gets a 2 count off of a modified Samoan drop, leading to Ivar hitting a moonsault that once again looked like his knees landed on Oba's face. Again, looked painful. Oba gets his foot on the bottom rope, though, and Oba wins after hitting Ivar with a pop-up powerbomb. In the post-match, Wes Lee made his return to stare down Obafemi. Wesley making his return. From what I hear, like I just recently got back into NXT to start doing this. Wesley is like John Cena right now with the way he came back. Incredible. The amount of time that he came back in. I think he was supposed to be out for like a year, and he was only out for like 5 months. So, absolutely incredible to see him come back, and it seems like he's going to be healthy and good to go. So, good for him. We then see Thea Hale getting ready for her match. It is her along with Chase U and Fallon Henley. They go on to enter through the Chase U section. She's out there to face JC Jane, who is flanked by Jasmine Nix tonight. No Kiana James, as she's been called up to Raw. The start of the match just sees them slapping each other before Thea takes down JC with an S dive. JC Jane takes control as we head to picture-in-a-picture. When we come back, JC Jane gets a 2 count off of a neck breaker. They both headbutt each other, which leads to a double down. And then Thea Hale gets a 2 count off of a driver. JC Jane then rolls Thea up for a 2 count of her own. Fallon Henley ends up eating a Pele kick on the outside from Jasmine Nix in an effort to save Thea Hale while the ref was busy tending to JC Jane. Thea Hale ends up getting the win after forcing JC Jane to tap out via the Kimura lock. This match was simply there to set up the post-match, because in the post-match, Chase U is all happy, they're celebrating, and nobody, literally nobody, seems to care about Fallon Henley. She makes her way back into the ring, and they so are like unaware that she's even there anymore that Andre Chase bumps into her, and she just bounces back into the ropes kind of thing. They're starting to leave, and it kind of seems like Thea looks back to tell Fallon to come with them, but at that same time, Fallon Henley had turned and looked towards the announce table. But I don't think it would have mattered, because as Thea was heading between the ropes, Fallon Henley grabbed her and dropped her with a punch before leaving. Following this, we got a vignette for a new tag team, Tyson and Tyreek, as we headed into the commercial break. And when we came back from commercial break, we got to see Natalya training for her match. It was now time for that new tag team, and they were here to take on the OC. Why? If we're going to draft the OC to a main roster position, have them be in a main roster position. If you're not going to have them be in a main roster position, then why'd you draft them? Get them out of NXT if you're not going to just put them on NXT. Plain and simple. If you're going to say they're on the main roster and then have them spend all their time in NXT, don't insult our intelligence like that. Just put them in NXT. Who cares? Same with the Final Testament, for the record. Anyway, it's the OC versus Tyson DuPont and Tyreek Igwe. When we come back from commercial break, we see Natalya training for her match, but now it's time for the OC versus Tyson DuPont and Tyreek Igwe. Carl Anderson and Tyreek Igwe start the match. DuPont and Igwe isolate Anderson in the early parts of the match before Gallows tags in and takes temporary control. Anderson tags back in, but Tyson and Tyreek end up hitting him. Or not him, they hit Gallows, my bad, with a double choke slam. The OC end up getting the win, though, despite that, after hitting a magic killer. So we just bury new tag teams for some reason. And Following this, we head into a commercial break where we then get a flashback to the draft upon returning. Ava is in the ring, and she announces the first ever Women's North American Championship. When we come back from commercial, we get a flashback to the draft, and then Ava is standing in the ring, and she announces that the first ever Women's North American Champion will be crowned at Battleground in a ladder match. We will be doing a combine to determine the 12 women who will be put into qualifier matches to determine the 6 participants for the ladder match. That's a lot. Jada Parker interrupts, though, and calls her shot for the match. Sol Ruka then comes out as well and calls her shot. Ariana Grace comes out, which she's supposed to be eating with Georgina. Not sure what's going on there. But Ariana Grace says that she isn't a fan of the ladder match before they're all interrupted by Michin Mia Yim, who comes out and declares for the combine. So another person from the main roster just going to come down to NXT and take screen time? Sure, okay. The locker room then basically empties of all the women as they fight to apparently just fight each other because they all want to win. A match that none of them have qualified for. I don't know. This just ain't it. After this, we see that the Street Profits are here in support of Axiom and Nathan Frazier. Montez tells them to never slow down. I'm sure that sounded nothing like the intro to their music. Nevertheless, we then see Lola Vice is training for her match with Natalya in the first ever women's NXT Underground. But now it's time for Shawn Spears versus Ridge Holland. Shawn Spears aims to get in Ridge's head early on. We head into a commercial break. I should say we head into picture-in-a-picture commercial break. But as I've stated before, I really don't end up watching picture-in-a-picture because I'm never watching live. When we come back, Shawn Spears has control, and we get a QR code for another Uncle Howdy tease. In the end, though, Ridge Holland hits a package DDT to win. We're then taken backstage where Roxanne blames Ava for her not getting drafted before Ava just basically points out, that fancy piece of gold you're holding is the reason you're still here. Yeah, congratulations, you won, and your prize is you get to stay here. Welcome to the game. Spy Kids 3 reference. Ava then goes on to say that she's got something to talk to Roxy about, and Roxanne just storms off, and Ava kind of just cracks her door open a little bit and tells whoever's in there that they'll have to talk later. Next, we see that Ivar is sitting in the medical area, and Josh Briggs comes in and tells Ivar thanks for softening Oba up. Wesley walks up, just he happened to be in the room too apparently, and he calls it his North American Championship. Wesley says that he'll beat Josh Briggs for a shot at Ivar, and Josh Briggs just kind of scoffs and heads out. And then Ivar gets up from the table and tells Wesley that he's not done with Oba. But I'm pretty sure Oba's done with him, man. I don't know. Eric needs to be healed up and ready to come back so that him and Ivar can go back to trying to win tag titles. I don't know. This Ivar solo run, I can't get into it. We then hear from Paul Ellering, who says that the Final Testament is coming for all the titles, so NXT better get ready. So again, why didn't we just put the Final Testament on NXT instead of drafting them to where they end up, SmackDown, I think, or Raw maybe? Well, that's the only two options. They ended up somewhere, and it wasn't NXT. We then head into a commercial break, and when we come back, we're riding along in the car with the family. Tony D says that he's going to go after the Heritage Cup, and the rest of the conversation is basically them just talking about what they're going to do once he has it. It's now time for the NXT Tag Team Championship match, which is AOP versus Axiom and Nathan Frazier. Axiom and Frazier attack AOP before the bell and stand tall in the ring. But eventually, Akam gets in the ring, and Akam and Frazier start the match, and AOP just take control immediately, and we head into a break. Picture in a picture. We come back from the break, AOP still in control. AOP gets a 2 count after using Frazier as a battering ram, per usual, against Axiom. The official ends up catching Scarlett trying to interfere, so he throws her, Karrion Kross, and Paul Ellering out. And while they're pleading their case, or more or less, just distracting the referee, the New Catch Republic shows up to attack AOP while they're busy, or while the ref is busy. And that just kind of keeps the fluid storyline going from SmackDown. Axiom ends up rolling one of AOP up. I can't tell them apart. I really can't. Following a super kick from Frazier to pick up the win. Then backstage we see Ridge Holland and he just kind of shows up by the Chase U people, and him and Andre Chase kind of share a moment. We're then outside and the Metaphor are leaving, and Noam Dar invites Trick to be on Supernova Sessions next week. Behind them, Kalani Jordan and Fallon Henley come out, and Kalani confronts Fallon about assaulting Thea Hale. Fallon says that it's time to put herself first, and we then head into a commercial break. When we come back, Idris Inofe and Malik Blade talk about the broken mirror from last week before Brinley Reese says that she's got an idea to help make things better before she brings in black kittens. Yeah. Black kittens, bad luck and all. Following this, we get the announcements for next week, and we'll have Wes Lee versus Josh Briggs. We'll have the Supernova Sessions featuring Trick Williams and the NXT Women's Combine. But it is now time for the main event, which is Lola Vice versus Natalya in NXT Underground. When the match kicks off, Natalya takes control first, but Lola Vice fights back into it, and we head into a picture-in-a-picture. When we come back from the break, Lola Vice is still in control, but Natalya quickly takes control back. They end up outside the ring, and Lola Vice sweeps Natalya's legs on the announce table, but Natalya still fights back before Lola Vice sends her into the ring post. Lola Vice now has control and locks in a triangle. Natalya fights out of it, though, before Lola locks in a guillotine choke, which Natalya powers out of, but gets caught in the choke again. This time, Natalya kind of shimmies her way off the ring apron to ringside before she just drops Lola on the outside to break the hold. At this point, Shayna Baszler kind of gets a little close to Natalya, so Carmen Petrovich comes running around and attacks Shayna, causing Shayna to fall into Natalya, who at this point has locked in a knee bar on Lola Vice, who were all wrapped up around the ring post. And Shayna falling into Natalya caused her to release the hold. We then end up back in the ring, and Natalya sets up for the sharpshooter, but Shayna interferes. Natalya sends Shayna out of the ring, or off the ring, I should say. There's no ropes, so there's no out. It's just off. Following this, Natalya then finally locks in the sharpshooter on Lola Vice. It is a very long-winded submission, and we then see Shayna lock in the Karafuda clutch on Carmen Petrovic, which gets Natalya to release the sharpshooter hold to go deal with Shayna, which she promptly does. When Natalya gets back up onto the ring, Lola hits her with a back fist, followed by elbow strikes to get the win via knockout. As we close out the show, we're taken back to General Manager Ava's office once again, where Roxanne is still there, and she asks why she's still there. Ava then goes on to tell Roxanne that next week she will be facing Chelsea Green with her NXT Women's Championship on the line. Another person from the main roster coming down to challenge for a title. Meanwhile, we're just releasing all these people from NXT because we don't have anything for them, because we're giving main roster people the TV time that's made for the developmental people. I don't know. Not much I can do about it. Not much you can do about it. But this is going to be the last NXT recap for a while. If the other two recaps, the PLE recaps, and any of the extras end up causing us to, kind of take off a little bit, get some traction, I'll start doing the NXT recaps again. But at this point, it's a lot of, it's extra time and effort that goes into it between watching the show, taking notes on the show, doing the recording process, then doing the editing process, and then uploading it to have nobody watch it, or I should say listen to it. And the longer we go away from a time frame of when it's relevant, the less likely anybody is to watch it. So at this point, anything that's past 2 weeks old, I just imagine isn't going to get clicked on anymore because we're past that. It's not current anymore. Kind of like how I'm dropping this a week late, simply for the fact that I need to stay linear with everything. I didn't plan on taking a break. I didn't technically take a break. I just got busy. Anyway, I've been Dylan Graives. This has been WrestleRecap, bringing you the NXT Spring Breakin Night 2 recap. If you want to support WrestleRecap, you can like, share, and subscribe. You can comment down below. Tell me that I'm just out of pocket on this and to just grow up. I don't know. Tell me whatever you want. I mean, keep it within the boundaries, per usual. Keep it clean, I guess. Sure, whatever. This is the sound of defeat. It is super hot in this room right now. I am like melting. You can click the link, click the video here that's floating around. Yeah, until next time, I'm going to try to stop melting in this room. But I've been Dylan Graives. Hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you next time.